Hey everybody, welcome back to another installment of Andy's Music Vault. I am the other leg. You may recognize me from my other show that I do with my co-host Tom Hunyadi, and that's Two Legs. And this is the second installment of my offshoot show where I talk about all other music that I'm into. And this is one that has been long in the making, long as in COVID, since COVID, really, since the onset of COVID, really almost before COVID, and we're going to kind of get into all that as I explain it. As you can see from my shirt here, episode 2 is going to focus on Bob Dylan. And Bob Dylan, to me, before the pandemic, was somebody who I casually knew. I knew the hits. I knew the Beatle connection. Very, very casual fan of Bob Dylan. I think I may have owned one greatest hit CD. That was about it. I had no desire to really learn anything about him. As a younger music fan, I didn't understand what all the hubbub was. I didn't get it. I didn't understand it, which thankfully now I do. I hate to think that it was the reason that the pandemic is the reason I got into him, but I had the time to do it. But a little backstory. Several years ago, I became very good friends with a close friend of mine who we're going to feature in a little bit in a guest appearance interview. And his name is Bob also. And he is a huge Dylan fan. And I kind of got to know him a little bit, and over the years talking to him and his enthusiasm for him, and mutual music lover, going to concerts and stuff. And at the end of 2019, we had become friends. About a year or two before that, we had started going to see concerts, the Fab Four, Beatles related stuff, and things like that. Also a big prog fan as well, like me. I kind of got excited about possibly seeing Dylan through him, and Dylan was doing his residency of his Neverending Tour at the Beacon Theater. And this was November of 2019. And he's like, "Do you want to go?" And I said, sure, I'll go. And boy, that's where it started. That's where it started. It clicked for me. I saw Dylan with my friend Bob that night and a couple others, and it was absolutely incredible. Like a switch was flipped in my brain, and there was no going back from that point on. The floodgates opened up. And the pandemic, a few months later, did nothing just to even give me more time to do more of that. So, I liked the hits. I think I knew Sad Eyed Lady of the Lowlands because that was on a Steve Howe, Bob Dylan tribute album. And being a Yes fan, I knew that John Anderson and Steve Howe did a really good version of Sad Eyed Lady of the Lowlands. So I knew that. I had seen No Direction Home, the Scorsese documentary, but it just wasn't jiving with me. I'm in my 40s now. So, and I guess age is a state of mind, but it also depends on where you're at musically with what you're into. And in my 20s and 30s, I couldn't grasp it. And, the music comes to us when it's supposed to come to us, right? And I think for whatever reason, it finally came to me. So, I did this with Procol in episode 1 and discovering a band or an artist. I have to jump all in, and you're going to see in a matter of minutes how I jumped all in. Not nearly complete, but you can see a couple of empty shelves above my shoulder there. That now occupies the Bob Dylan section of my CDs. Since that 2019 show, I saw him again with my friend Bob and a few others. Just a few months ago in November again of 2021 at the Beacon promoting, and that was all on the Rough and Rowdy Ways tour. And he did most of that album, which I think is fantastic. We'll get to that in a little bit when that album dropped in June of 2020. And I was totally absorbed by it because by that point I was 5-6 months into my Dylan obsession. So I was absorbing everything. And so I absolutely love Rough and Rowdy Ways as a record. I think it's tremendous. I mean, and I literally spent probably all of 2020 and the good first quarter of 2021 listening to nothing but Bob Dylan. I did my McCartney Beatles stuff for Two Legs when I needed to, But any casual free time listening was totally listening to Bob Dylan, whatever I could, whenever I could. And clearly I have not listened to it all yet. There's CDs that I bought that I'll show that I have not listened to. There's albums that I don't know one note of yet. Not so much the classic period, but there's the 80s, that mid 80s period. I don't know that well yet. But I spent the better part of 15, 16 months listening to nothing but Bob Dylan every single day. Buying every book that I can get my hands on that I thought was worthwhile. Finding websites like Expecting Rain, which is like a big Dylan website, and reading everything I could about it. Buying up whatever vinyl I could get. And that's the one nice thing about getting into a prolific artist like Bob Dylan. He's so prolific and he's so popular. And the used CD market being what it is now, you can find plenty of Bob Dylan titles for very cheap, like $5 or under, depending on where you go. And then depending what you're looking for. If you're looking for the first pressing on Columbia or you're looking for the reissues. And I just wanted to have the music. It didn't necessarily need to be the most recent Columbia remasters, although I did get some of those cheap. I just wanted to have everything that I can get my hands on. And you see Blood on the Tracks right there to my left, and I think that's probably my favorite album right now. How could you? But I go back and forth with it. So I'm just gonna jump right in with the CDs, and God, there has been so much. I have gotten so much Bob Dylan stuff in 2 years that my mind is still swirling with getting through all of it. I've got a customized Dylan playlist of music that I just keep going. I don't know. Time out of mind. I go back and forth with what my favorite record is. Finding these little gems on the bootleg series, which people like Bob, my friend, will talk about at the end of part one of this first installment. He's going to come on at the end of it, and I'll just come on at the end to close it up. But this is going to be a two-parter, this installment of Andy's Music Vault. Part one's going to be with me, kind of just going over my collection and an overview and some of my favorite tracks and favorite albums from that. And then the interview with Bob. And then part two is going to be with my friend Dylan Seavey. And I think it's so uncanny that the two guests I'm having on two parts of the episodes, their given names are Bob and Dylan. So it just works. It just works. And Dylan Seavey is other than my friend Bob, is the only authority that I know that knows so much of it. And he may even know more. I mean, I don't know. It's pretty close though. But Bob, as you'll see, is pretty hard to top. And he's such a knowledgeable guy. And they both are. And Dylan's a great musician in his own right. So, gonna just jump right into Self-Titled, 1962. That's a Columbia repressing. The Woody Guthrie influence all over it. All these early records. Reading everything. Freewheeling, of course, which the Beatles absorbed. And there's Susie Rotolo on the cover, as immortalized. Times They Are Changing. Another one, I think is this the one that had Hattie Carroll on it? Yeah, The Lonesome Death of Hattie Carroll. What a great song that is. Obviously, the times they were changing, but Hattie Carroll is such a great song. There's a great live version of it too on one of the archive bootleg series, which I go to all the time. Absolutely love that song. I've since read that it's not. Sometimes it wasn't true, that he was actually really innocent. But I love The Lonesome Death of Hattie Carroll off of this CD. Okay, now Bob is kind of starting to get influenced by the Beatles a little bit. Another side of Bob Dylan. I believe his last album of 1964. It Ain't Me, Babe, My Back Pages, Chimes of Freedom, All I Really Want to Do. But probably my favorite one on this one is Ballad in Plain D, which was, again, another kind of scorned love affair song with his first girlfriend there, actually about her sister, if I recall it correctly. First album of 1965. This is where things really get cooking with Bringing It All Back Home. Side one being electric, side two being acoustic. I think I have that right. Yeah, side one was the electric side, side two was the acoustic side. And I gotta say, I think one of my all-time favorite Dylan songs is Love Mine is Zero, No Limit, which he did with George at the concert of Bangladesh. My love, she speaks like silence. I mean, everything about that song is just, it's incredible. She knows too much to argue or to judge, and it just ends. It's just incredible. Love it. Highway 61 Revisited, of course, probably contains one of my all-time favorite songs too. And I got to see him do it live in 2019 with my friend Bob, and that's It Takes a Lot to Laugh, It Takes a Train to Cry. And what a song that evolved, but the song evolved and changed. If you listen to it in the bootleg series, it's the whole tone of the song changed into what it became. This slow, drudging kind of, you just hear the car starting up when you listen to something like that. It takes a lot to laugh, it takes a train to cry. Queen Jane, Ballad of the Thin Man. We saw him do that, and my friend Bob will talk about that because that was a pretty special performance of that song we saw him. And of course, the 11-minute closer, Desolation Row. I've often told my friends, especially Bob and Dylan, that Bob Dylan is one of the only songwriters that can make a really long song seem really short. I can't get over it. 11 minutes, 8 minutes, 9 minutes. I mean, even Murder Most Foul. It goes by so quick. And that's just the genius of him as a songwriter. Of course, Blonde on Blonde, 1966. Probably, up there, top 3. Visions of Joanna, although I like the live version on Biograph box set better than the studio one. And of course, this was the album that had that produced that thin, Wild Mercury sound. Leopard Skill Pillbox, Most Likely You'll Go Away and I'll Go Mine. And of course, he's got the band with him by this point. Pledging My Time, everything about Stuck Inside, absolutely Fourth Time Around. And of course, which was obviously a little bit of a dig at Lennon, and Sad Eyed to close it. And then he goes off the grid and he comes out with John Wesley Harding in 67. It's a totally different record. Amidst psychedelic Beatles, Magical Mystery Tour, Stones, Satanic Majesty's Request, Bob goes the totally different opposite direction and does something like John Wesley Harding. As I went out this morning, I dreamed of St. Augustine. Of course, All Along the Watchtower, Dear Landlord, I'll Be Your Baby Tonight, one of the best tracks on here. Just so different. And I think that's what took me such a long time to not realize that Bob was not part of the stream of consciousness of where pop music was going at that time. Totally different. And that just is, but now it clicks. Now it clicks with me. Okay, greatest hits. We can skip that. One of my all-time favorites coming up after that, Nashville Skyline. Such a short record. Short record, but one of my all-time favorite Bob albums. To Be Alone With You, I Threw It All Away, Peggy Day. Obviously, The Girl from North Country with Johnny Cash, Lay Lay to Lay, One More Night, Tell Me That It Isn't True, Country Pie, and Tonight I'll Be Staying Here With You. And the whole thing is like less than 30 minutes, but absolutely love it. Then we come to the one that really got criticized, Self-Portrait, which, All the Tide Horses. Like, what is that? What was it, Grail Marcus? What is this shit? And, but it's good. Let It Be Me, that's a great ballad on this. He redoes some of his own songs. Quinn, Mighty Quinn does a cover of the Boxer. Now on his next proper album, which won people back, New Morning, of course, opening up with the co-write If Not For You that he did with George. The title track, New Morning, Time Passes Slowly, Winterlude, which is a great track. I love that one as well. A Day of the Locusts, which is about the day that Bob got his honorary doctorate, I believe, at Princeton, which is a great track as well. Greatest Hits 2, which is a really cool compilation because they threw you a couple of cookies on this one. If you're gonna just grab something quick from that early period, the second Greatest Hits album is awesome because you got a couple of freebies on here. Watching the River Flow, which was unique to this package as well, and I think there was another one too on here. Maybe When I Paint My Masterpiece, which again is good, but the version I really like is on the bootleg series, which is just a piano demo. And Bob and those piano demos, seek them out if you check them out. Check out his piano demo of The Times They Are Changing, or his piano demo of When I Paint My Masterpiece. Or probably one of my favorite top 5 all-time Dylan songs, I'll Keep It With Mine. Found that. These are all the songs I discovered in the last 2 years. I mean, I'll Keep It With Mine. It's incredible. An absolutely awesome song. Plowing Ahead, Pat Garrett soundtrack, which was kind of mainly known just for Knocking on Heaven's Door on here. Okay, and then he jumps labels and goes to Asylum and leaves for 2 albums and does some stuff with the band, Planet Waves, Forever Young, of course, the biggie on here, Never Say Goodbye, On a Night Like This. But the ensuing live album, Before the Flood, really is smoking live album. But this was done with the band in '74, and then we get to the epic Blood on the Tracks. Great bootleg series a couple of years back with everything on here. I think I like the version of You're a Big Girl on here is okay, but the one that I think he did in New York, because he did sessions in New York for this and then took them and went to Minneapolis, Minnesota, and did them again over. And I think that's what ends up on this album. But the New York sessions, I think, yield some really good stuff. Simple Twist of Fate. Idiot Wind, You're Gonna Make Me Lonesome When You Go, Meet Me in the Morning. Lily Rosemary and the Jack of Hearts, I'm not really crazy on. It goes a little bit too long. If You See Her, Say Hello, awesome. Shelter from the Storm, awesome. Buckets of Rain, what a great closer. And of course, Tangled Up in Blue. But again, go to the alternate one listen to the alternate one. Dylan's got a lot of those. The alternate one on the boot, I keep saying archive because I'm so used to being programmed to say archive, but it's the bootleg series. Same thing though. But Bob has done a hell of a lot more than Paul so far. And we'll get to those in a few minutes. 76 with Desire, more kind of commercial Bob. Rolling Thunder Tour ensues after this. Hurricane, Joey, Sarah, Isis, which I love that, with that rolling piano at the beginning of it, just hooks you right in, which I think was a B-side of a single. Again, great, a little more backing vocals, a little more present on this one. And I like it. I like Desire, but I like the next album a hell of a lot more, and that's Street Legal. Absolutely. Over the last 6 months, year, I think I've played this Bob Dylan album the most. And there's not even a hit single on it. Changing of the Guards, awesome. New Pony, awesome. No Time to Think, which is it's basically like an 8-minute waltz. No Time to Think. It's awesome. Baby Stop Crying. And then flip the record over. Is Your Love in Vain? Senor. The True Love Tends to Forget. We Better Talk This Over. Where every song on Street Legal is absolutely fantastic. This is the album where my friend Bob came in, which he'll get to in a little bit. But again, there's no big single on this album, but it's just awesome. 1978, Street Legal. I can't get enough of Street Legal. I like it more than Desire and Planet Waves. It's probably tied with Blood on the Tracks, but absolutely love Street Legal. The next one I don't love so much, which is a live album, and that doesn't mean I don't like it yet, but I just can't get into it. That's the Budokan. The arrangements are just too different for me on this one, and the backing singers. Maybe I'll give it another chance. It does have its fans. I listened to it once. It's not doing anything for me just yet. It's just not. Great set list. Tambourine Man, Shelter from the Storm, Love Minus Zero, Ballad of a Thin Man. He does them all the big ones. But the arrangements on here, I just can't get into it on this one. That's live, and Bob and live is a whole different animal. Next studio album, also one of my favorites, and it's one of my go-to Dylan albums, just like Street Legal, just like Blood on the Tracks, and the first of the Christian trilogy, as it were. Slow Train Coming. Man, this record cooks, absolutely cooks. Won a Grammy, I believe, for "Gotta Serve Somebody," which also influenced John Lennon. Up there in the upper floors of the Dakota, circa 1979. And I like Gotta Serve Somebody, but the other tracks on this are just awesome. Precious Angel, I Believe in You, Slow Train. That whole first side, I like the whole album, but the whole first side is incredible. I Believe in You, Precious Angel, these are, just to me, can't miss Bob Dylan tracks. And again, I probably listened to it. I have to look at my play count on iTunes, but it'd be off the charts. I absolutely love the production value of this too. Very, very slickly produced record, which I want to say was Jerry Wexler, right? Jerry Wexler, yeah. Yeah, just awesomely produced, 1979. The next one, I really don't know the next one yet. I have it. and that's 1980. Saved. This is kind of, I think, Bob at the height of the kind of Christianity stuff. I don't know. I don't know one song on this album really yet. Maybe I can be tuned on to it by some of you in the comments. But we'll see. I will definitely give it a shot. Doesn't mean that I won't like it, but I'm not there with it yet. However, the next album has grown on me quite a bit of late, and that's Shot of Love, 1981, featuring an ex-Beatle on drums on one of the tracks. I just forget which one, but Ringo drums on one of the songs on here. And boy, there's some really great tracks on this. Real great rocking song on here, The Groom Still Waiting at the Altar. Awesome song. Awesome song. But there's three biggies on here. That one, the fourth track, Lenny Bruce, which was a piano ballad about Lenny Bruce, which I got to see him do live in 2019. But probably the last one, Every Grain of Sand. And those of you Marvel fans out there, of which I am a burgeoning one. I'm not a huge Marvel fan, but I'm becoming one, thanks to some friends of mine. There's a new show called Moon Knight, and I started watching it, and the show opens up with this track, and that's Every Grain of Sand. Holy crap. Oh, I was like, what? We got Every Grain of Sand in a Marvel show? Again, seek out the demo with the dogs barking in the background. That's on the Bootleg series, volumes 1 through 3. Every Grain of Sand is a top 10 Bob Dylan song for me on this 1981 album, Shot of Love. Again, I don't know the whole thing great, but Lenny Bruce, Groom Still Waiting at the Altar, and Every Grain of Sand, that's top. Can't miss Dylan, top 10. Next up, another favorite of mine still, and that's 1983's Infidels. I absolutely love the title track to this, Joker Man. I listened to it a ton of times. Short record, 8 tracks, but Joker Man is so slickly produced, and he's never performed it really live the same way that he's done it as he did on the record, which is the case in a lot of Bob's songs. But Joker Man, the video for it, everything about it. I mean, there's a book just on the making of Infidels because I was so obsessed with it. I bought it and read it. Surviving in a Ruthless World, which I'll show my Bob book collection when I'm done with the CDs. I and I, great track. Neighborhood Bully, Sweetheart Like You, which I think was the follow-up single. Those are all great songs as well, which I go to when I listen to this album as well. Now we're going to kind of get into what I call my kind of gray period with Bob, of stuff I don't know that well. With his next couple of records. And I don't own every single one of them. I mean, I have them in other forms, but the next one on CD is Empire Burlesque. I don't know this one at all, really. But I do know that there's a version, again, on the Bootleg series, like a broken record, When the Night Comes Falling from the Sky, which on that box set is tremendous. That's a great song. This, I can't judge it because I haven't listened to the whole thing. So maybe Dylan or Bob can tell me some more about this, or you can in the comments. Empire Burlesque. I know Joe Mayo is. I've watched him on his streams talk about this album. But tell me a little bit more about it. The next one is I don't have on CD, but on vinyl. Knocked Out Loaded, which I only have for Brownsville Girl, which I love. My friend Dylan CV hates that song, but I love Brownsville Girl. Again, 11 minutes. Doesn't feel like 11 minutes. All this about going to see a movie that stars Gregory Peck. I love it. I absolutely love Brownsville Girl. But I don't have that on CD. The next one is a compilation. And again, I don't have a complete Bob Dylan collection by any means, but I think for 2 years worth, I've done a pretty good job. I hope I have anyway. You tell me. But Biograph 85. If you're going to try to kind of get into Bob, start with this one. This is great. This is the one that had that live version of Visions of Johanna on it, which I think is absolutely tremendous, as long as some other gems that are also on. Yeah, see the live version from May of '66, which is when he was over in London at the time. So the B-sides, album tracks, some other stuff that was unreleased at the time, Percy's song, things like that are all on here. An unreleased version of Isis, standalone singles, obviously, Can you crawl out your window? Things like that. But it just through 3 CDs, and this is the go-to, I think, to start. You know, if you're gonna do a little bit of in-depth stuff. And I believe this had "I'll Keep It With Mine." Yeah, this has "I'll Keep It With Mine" on it. So there you go. Live stuff next. Real Live. This isn't bad. This has got some 80s arrangements of some classic songs: Maggie's Farm, Highway 61, Tangled Up in Blue, Even Ain't Me Babe. But Bob in an 80s context, you know, it is what it is. The next one, this is unofficial, but this was given to me as well. This is the Petty and Dylan tour, which I'm going to ask Dylan Seavey about because he is the go-to guy for both of these gentlemen. But this is a pretty cool broadcast of the two of them soundboard from that tour that they did together in '86. Yeah, as well. On there. Next studio album, one that I'm going to give some more time to. A lot of people tell me that this is up there, top 10 Dylan albums. I'm not there yet with it, but I think I will be soon. And that's 1989's "Oh Mercy," the first of the albums produced by Daniel Lanois, who later went on to produce Time Out of Mind. And I think maybe one of those other 90s albums, maybe World Gone Wrong, I'm not sure. But Political World, Ring Them Bells, Everything Is Broken, which I think was in a movie as well. But Ring Them Bells is awesome. What Good Am I? That's also another great song as well. This is the one that a lot of people, and I have to sit with this one a little bit more. I'm almost there with it, but not quite, but I will get there. But this, a lot of people say, starts the comeback trail for Bob, as it were, after that. So let's keep jumping ahead here. I've lost my piles, of course. Jump to early 92 now. I think this is 92, Under a Red Sky, which the title track is all I know, but I think I absolutely love that track. That's on here, right? Yeah. Under the Red Sky, which was on a compilation, which I think is great. But other than that, I don't know it. I don't know. I want to say it's 90. Yeah. This is produced by Don Was. 1990. Okay, so this actually predates the other one a little bit. Or no, probably right after "Oh Mercy." So maybe some of you out there can tell me some of the better tracks on Under the Red Sky. But I love the title track. Then we get to the, of course, very infamous 1992 30th anniversary concert, which I'm sure my friend Bob will tell us about because he was there at Madison Square Garden that night for this show. And man, whether you watch it or listen to it, this is with all the tribute artists on here. And then Bob himself comes out. This is, and again, how much better can you get than having Roger McGuinn, Petty, Neil Young, and Eric and George Harrison all do My Back Pages? Stuff of legends, really. That's the live 30th concert. Moving ahead here, that's just, I think that's just a bootleg of the same show. Okay, World Gone Wrong, more 90s studio stuff. Don't know anything on this one. I don't know anything on this one at all. World Gone Wrong. Is this the one that he did covers of stuff? I can't remember. I forget. I don't know anything about this one, really. Greatest Hits 3, obviously. The Unplugged album, which is really good. And I got the DVD of this as well. Really good. Really good versions of Desolation Row, Dignity, all on here, Like a Rolling Stone. And worth watching the DVD. I'm glad I got this. But now it's time to get into the heavy hitters. And I love latter day Dylan. Anything from the last 20, 25 years, I like. I probably do most. That's probably most of what I listen to. And in 1997, or it would have been 98, Grammy Awards, I was thoroughly ticked off that Paul McCartney's Flaming Pie lost out Album of the Year to this album, Time Out of Mind. I was furious. 1997, teenage kid, Flaming Pie comes out. I am this huge Beatles fan. I'm like, Flaming Pie is out. It's kicking ass. It's done well. It's awesome. It's Paul. Got to number 2 on the charts. Great album. and we're going to give the Grammy the record of the year to Time Out of Mind. And I was like, what? To that old croaky, crappy singer who can't sing anything? This is what I thought then. I can now say with some decades of hindsight that I actually can concede the loss of that award, and it was the right decision. And as much of a Paul fan as I am, Time Out of Mind deserved had to win that Grammy and win Record of the Year, because this album is a game changer. Moving, emotional, reflective, asking us all those questions, everything about it. Bob found his writing again. And I know he was very sick at some point in the making of this album, almost died from what I've read. This album is, I'm at a loss for it. It is absolutely everything they said it was in 1997 and more. I was just too, juvenile of a teenager to realize it then. And again, with age comes perspective. But, and it's where you are when you discover these songs. Standing in the doorway. What's the line of that song? I don't know if I saw you, if I'd kiss you or kill you. It wouldn't matter anyhow. It cracks me up because it's so true. Everything about that song, every lyric in that song is so true and so honest. Trying to get to heaven before they close the door. It's not dark yet. Everything about it, Of course, To Make You Feel My Love, but Cold Irons Bound is a great kind of rocker as well. And the album just opens up very darkly with Lovesick, plodding along like that. And of course, another long song to close it, Highlands. But it's this record deserves all the praise and more that it gets, because it's worth every amount of it. It is absolutely incredible, and it's the perfect. And again, maybe because I'm older, but I really love Time Out of Mind. And if you haven't listened to it, please get it. And depending where you are and you're listening, where you are with it, hopefully you like it too. Because, boy, am I so glad that I picked up with that when I did, because it means everything to me now. Moving ahead, that's just another compilation from 2000. Okay, knocking them out of the park still. 2001, Love and Theft, another great record, which I believe was released on 9/11 as well. Great record on here. High Water for Charlie Patton is one of my favorites here. Honest With Me, I absolutely love that song too. Probably my favorite on here though is absolutely track 2, Mississippi. It's very different. There's other versions out there of it, but Mississippi for me is absolutely top tier Dylan as well. I got this one on vinyl not too long ago as well, and this one right up there as well. I don't like it as much as Time Out of Mind, but every song is off the charts, good, high quality. This one I was in this timeline. I just got this not that long ago. But Dylan Live at the Gaslight, 1962. I think it came out around this time. That's why I threw it there. Moonshiner, another deep cut from Dylan, which is on this one as well. Worth checking out. Okay, now we get to, I think, my favorite album currently. And I keep coming back to it. I featured it on Two Legs when we talked about it, when we did our top 30 favorite albums. And that to me is 2006 and Modern Times. This is another edition of the CD. But boy, this album is as good as, I think, it nudges out Time Out of Mind ever so slightly to me in terms of my favorite Dylan albums. This one and Time Out of Mind. And then maybe Blood on the Tracks and Street Legal. Those are like my 4, I think. And then Blonde on Blonde. Dylan found some melody on this record. And I heard it right away when I listened to it the first time, maybe a year and a half ago, when I heard it. Spirit on the Water, I could tell right away. When the Deal Goes Down, when it just opens up like that, I knew it. And then, of course, to me, This one is almost McCartney-esque in terms of the melody, which is maybe why I love it so much. And that's Working Man Blues #2. There's an evening haze sitting on the town. I think the only song to work the word proletariat, I can't even say that right. Proletariat, that's the word, into the song. Meet me at the bottom line, don't leave me behind. Bring me my boots and shoes, you can hang back on or fight your best line. Give me some of that working man's blues, however it goes, is absolutely incredible. Like descending, it has these descending notes in it that go, and a quality to it that absolutely sends shivers up my spine every time I listen to it. I don't get tired of it. I probably have well over 100 plays in my iTunes playlist for that. It is easily a top 5 Dylan song on here. And again, I love all the tracks on the album. Thunder on the Mountain, great rocking opener. Rolling and Tumbling, great. When the Deal Goes Down, awesome. Someday Baby, awesome. Beyond the Horizon, which is the next song, awesome. And then another one, which I believe he won the Pulitzer for, I think, was the lyrics for Nettie Moore. Oh, I miss you, Nettie Moore. I mean, Nettie Moore is incredible. Incredible song. And I'm not that great at describing all these songs, but hopefully I can tell you at least the titles and which ones you should go out and see. Because I'm not a musician. My friend Dylan Seavey is. He'll tell us a little more about the technical detail of these songs and why I like them. Because that's what he does. I put a song on like most fans, and my ear just goes, ting, I like that. And that's just how I am. But Nettie Moore and Working Man's Blues on this, and The Levee's Gonna Break, Modern Times is one of the best Bob Dylan records ever made. Bottom line. Another compilation, which I really like because it kind of goes a little bit further. This is a 3 CD. It kind of goes all the way up to Modern Times, which I like. And you get the coveted Blind Willie McTell, which was left off of, believe it or not, Infidels. So Blind Willie McTell, which, that's Bob though. He leaves as one of his best songs off of an album. It got a release on this compilation, obviously the bootleg series as well, but it's on there too. But it's on here for that. This is how I also discovered Brownsville Girl, was off of this compilation. So I like this one just for another go-to. Probably better because it covers everything up until 2006, which is why I like that. You'll know that. I know that also around this time they reissued all of Dylan's stuff in that nice red box from Columbia, and I guess this tied in with that. Moving ahead, 2009, Together Through Life. I have not listened to this yet, so I don't know what is good and what's not on it. I'm sure it is something I'm going to ask Dylan, or please tell me in the comments what's good on this album. I've not listened to it, so I can't say. Again, there's only so many hours in a day, folks. We have lives, careers, friends, family, podcasts to do. I can't listen to it all. I really try, but I can't. Next, 2012, Tempest. Now, I bought this when it came out because I knew there was a song on here that had a Beatle connection. Of course, that's Roll On John, the last track on here, which is phenomenal. Doctor, Doctor, Tell Me the Time of Day. I mean, it's literally a poem to John, which closes the album. You burn so bright, burn on John. Obviously, there's been plenty of John tribute songs out there. This one, obviously, written decades after his passing. But Roll On John is great. Other great tracks I like on here that I've seen him do. Duquesne Whistle, which starts the album. I've seen him do that. Early Roman Kings, he's played that. The first time I saw him, he played that as well. That rocked the house as well. And the title track. I need this one on vinyl still. But one of the cooler looking covers, I thought, too. And one of the last to have the kind of issued in the old way without being in a plastic or paper, jewel case or whatever. But yeah, I dig this one. I dig this one a lot. And that takes us up until... in terms of studio albums, I think, and please tell me if I missed them, but I think I've got most of them. Rough and Rowdy Ways, June of 2020. Murder Most Foul drops at the height of the pandemic, a 17-minute song about JFK and popular culture and everything that was going on at the time, all the way up until the 60s and 70s. I remember seeing Bob's tweet when everything kind of just went crazy and said, here's something we just did, Stay safe, everybody. And Dylan just drops Murder Most Foul in March of 2020. And actually, a little tidbit: Fiona Apple actually plays piano on Murder Most Foul. I also, people, it's depressing, but it's, you have to be in the mood for it. Like a Plastic Ono Band, you have to be in the mood for it. But when I saw him in November, he played almost this whole album. Obviously, he didn't play Murder Most Foul, but he played just about everything. He played I Contain Multitudes. He played False Prophet. Awesome. He played My Own Version of You. I've Made Up My Mind to Give Myself to You, which was probably my favorite song of the whole show, which is great on the record. Black Rider. Goodbye, Jimmy Reed, opening up in typical blues Dylan kick-ass fashion. And a track that has grown on me. I didn't love it at first, but I do now, and that's Mother of Muses. I really love Mother of Muses. Crossing the Rubicon, I like. I don't love it. And then Key West, which is another long track, which has also grown on me as well. Quite a bit. But Mother of Muses is just awesome. Rough and Rowdy Ways, June of 2020, which is almost 2 years ago now, which is incredible. But I absolutely love it. And it's probably because of where I came into the fandom of Dylan. By June, I was into him 6 months. So I kind of was inclined to like it, you could say. But if I didn't like it, I wouldn't listen to it. But I really do. And I really encourage everybody to listen to it. I got the vinyl as well, which I'll show in a couple seconds. I'm not going to show you all of the Dylan vinyl, but I will kind of just plow through some of the CDs, the bootleg stuff, the books, and then we'll get out of here and turn it over to my friend Bob Davison, because I've been going on for 40 minutes already. This one, compilation, came out 2021, the 1970, which got a limited release in England, and the demand was so much for it that Columbia issued it, thankfully. And I think, this kind of goes back to when George and Bob Dylan got together a little bit there in 1970. 3 discs. There's a ton of takes of Went to See the Gypsy on here as well. But a couple of different covers. Bob jokingly doing Yesterday. A couple of other covers on here as well too. His own stuff he does in A Me Babe. That's the one he did. He did Elvis's Can't Help Falling in Love. So again, I Forgot to Remember to Forget. That's the one I wanted to get, which was an old Beatles Cavern song. They used to do that in the Cavern, and they did it in Hamburg as well too. I Forgot to Remember to Forget, which is a great track, and Bob does it here. I was interested to see that. So, yeah, there's 2 versions of it on here. Mostly kind of New Morning, self-portrait material on here as well. But again, if you're a Dylan collector, you got to grab it. Okay, let's knock out the bootleg stuff. Okay, bootleg series, the first 3 volumes on CD. A lot of that stuff I've talked about in this episode already is on here. The piano demo of, I believe, The Times They Were Changing. That version of Every Grain of Sand is on here. I'll Keep It With Mine is on here. Blind Willie McTell, When the Night, all those ones that I mentioned earlier. Plus a ton of other stuff. When the Ship Comes In, I forgot about that. 1962. Great song. So this was the start of the very infamous Bob Dylan bootleg series, and they did the first 3 volumes in this box set, which, again, I think I got this for like $10. It's just incredible, the used CD market right now. Okay, Volume 4, the Royal Albert Hall, even though it wasn't there, it was at the Manchester Free Trade Hall in May of '66. This I got many years ago, but really appreciate it now, because this was Dylan in England in '66. On that famous tour with the Hawks, which you've seen in all those films. Okay, Volume 5, Rolling Thunder, so well documented in the new Scorsese documentary from a couple years ago, and even done again later. You get a whole box set worth here. The entire tour, just about all of it, most of the dates on the back here from Rolling Thunder, all done. And again, this was not that expensive. All done on one box set. So Volume 5, but this came out a lot sooner. This is a little more recent, obviously, with the film coming out. This was the first kind of taste you had of all this stuff as well. Hattie Carroll was done on this tour. That's right. ISIS. Yeah, all the biggies on here. And again, obviously, watch the film to see it. Really, really hard rocking version of Tonight I'll Be Staying Here With You. It just opens up jamming on it, and totally different arrangement, totally different in Dylan style. Okay, Volume 6, live at the Philharmonic Hall, 1964. Again, if you want that pre-electric Dylan, this is him on here. Volume 7 is the No Direction Home soundtrack, which has all the stuff I've talked about. Actually, just whatever was in the film. Probably my favorite one so far, and I know a lot of Dylan fans say the same thing. That's number 8. It's near and dear to my heart. It's Telltale Signs, Volume 8, which kind of, it's almost like his B-sides, right? Like McCartney does B-sides. This gathers up all those lost songs between 89 and 2006. And what a package here on here. The two different versions of Mississippi, Series of Dreams, Dignity, Born in Time, Tell Old Bill, Everything is Broken, all different versions of these songs. But Ring Them Bells. But probably the one that really kind of stood out to me, that moved me the most, was the last song on the disc. Another 8-minute epic. And that's Cross the Green Mountain, which was featured in the film Gods and Generals from 2003. And there's a video for it too where Bob's dressed up. But that version, it's a shortened version, but the 8-minute version, Bob has this uncanny ability to just write these songs that just plod along and verse 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 and verse. And depending on what kind of music fan you are, you may not like that. And once upon a time, I didn't like that. But I'm telling you, like a song like Cross the Green Mountain, I could just listen to it endlessly. Listening to the story about a mother and her son going off to war and dying. It's so emotional and so well done. So if you don't know Cross the Green Mountain, check it out. But I'm so glad I got Telltale Signs. It's the one I go back to the most, for sure, on that one. That's Volume 8. Volume 9, where are we at with 9? That's 9. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The Whitmark demos. Volume 9. More piano stuff. This is where I found I'll Keep It With Mine. Another version, I'll Keep It With Mine on here. 2 discs. This is when he just kind of hammered out all these demos for them at that time that he talks about. Is this the one with the piano version? Yeah, the piano demo of The Times That Are Changing. They're on this, the Whitmark demos. That's Volume 9. Also can't miss. Another great one. And there's deluxe versions of these as well, too. Another self-portrait, going to the self-portrait era. Maybe even better than the album itself is the stuff on here. Everything, all the other versions that are on here, stuff that's not on the album. Again, yeah, everything. I think I like this better than the actual album. When I Pay My Masterpiece demo is on this as well, but you're going to need the deluxe one to get a little certain something, which I'm going to show you in a minute when I get to the rest of these. That's Volume 10. Okay, number 11, the Basement Tapes Raw. This is obviously the very famous Basement Tapes, which came out in 75. This is more of that. This isn't the complete, though. That's another set. I'll show you in a second. This is just a 2-disc take of that, of everything. Again, if you like the band stuff, raw, loud, emotional, odds and ends I like. I love the restored version of the Mighty Quinn, kind of just dirgy, but I love it. $1 Million Bash, Tears of Rage. Oh, what's that other one? I always forget the name of it. It's not on this one. Yeah, but yeah, the Basement Tapes as well. That's 11, 12. The Cutting Edge. This kind of gets into the meat and potatoes of the classic Bob era, and this apparently is available in like a 12-disc super uber all things must pass S type deluxe box set, which I don't have, but I've seen it. It's incredible. Has every take of everything literally on here. But if you're looking for that classic 65, 66 period where all those tracks we talked about earlier on, Love Minus Zero and It Takes a Lot to Laugh and all those songs, They're all the alternate versions are on here, and it's awesome, absolutely awesome. This, if you're going to start out with the bootleg series, go with this one. I think if you're a novice fan, for sure. 13. Okay, Christianity time. Trouble no more. Again, I don't know this one as well. I only because I do know the stuff that's off of Slow Train Coming, because I love that record. But there's stuff off of Saved on here that I don't really know, and a little bit of Shot of Love. Obviously, there's a nice live version of The Groom Still Waiting at the Altar, and Every Grain of Sand on here as well. But this is Bob and that, and some of these bootleg series, you got to see these deluxe versions. I don't have all of them. I have most, but God, they put Paul to shame. They really do. One of the more recent ones, but not the most recent one until that, was this volume 15, Traveling Through. This kind of covers that John Wesley Harding to Nashville Skyline period, which is another favorite period of mine, of Bob's as well. Drifter's Escape, all great alternate versions as well on here as well. And if you're just driving one day and you're in that mode and driving around the country, you can't go wrong by throwing one of these on, man. You just really can't. And all the stuff he does with Johnny Cash is also so greatly represented on here as well. So that's volume 15. Volume 16, which just came out this past September. Of course, I'm going to drop it now. And I only have the bigger version of it because I love the period. It's volume 16, Springtime in New York. Springtime in New York, the bootleg series, 1980 to 85. So this is covering that Saved to kind of knocked out, loaded period. And obviously, I enjoy Infidels. You get a lot of great Infidels outtakes on here. When we found out it was going to be that period, I said, "Oh, gotta grab it. I gotta grab it." So, still working my way through this. They do it all. Bob's people do such a great job. You get a nice book and photos in all these sets, all of them. Let me get to the other three kind of deluxe edition ones before we move to the vinyl and the books. Okay. Here is the deluxe set of this is the complete Basement tapes. So if you've got the 1975 or any other incarnation out there, this is all you need. This set right here. Okay? 6 discs of Basement tapes. I don't think anyone would need anything more than that, ever. And I got this at the In Groove out in Phoenix, Arizona, and I got it for a pretty good deal. So, yeah, the complete Basement tapes as well for that. Two more on these. Now, I mentioned this earlier. This is the Archive. Listen to me again, Archive deluxe set of the bootleg version of Volume 10. Why is this essential? This is essential because you get a complete disc 3. You get a complete live show of Bob and the band at the Isle of Wight in 1969, it's not on the 2 CD. So you need to get the deluxe edition of this to get that. It's the only way. And of course, disc 4 is an original self-portrait remastering of the album in disc 4. So this, for the performance with the band alone, makes this essential. And then probably my favorite Archive release so far, and again, I only have the bootleg series, is the Uber kind of More Blood, More Tracks, the Blood on the Tracks, bootleg series Archive box. This one, again, 6 discs. This has those kind of New York sessions and Minneapolis sessions that I talked about earlier. Lots of different arrangements on that album right there. Many different. And this was the very first one I got. And I want to say this came out in 2018. But no, that can't be right because I wasn't listening to Bob then. But it came out in 2018. But I got it, I think, in, again, probably early 2020. Maybe 20. This was the first one I got, though. Certainly pre-pandemic. But out of the kind of deluxe sets, this one I enjoy the most for what's on it. All right, let's get to the books. Let's get to the books real quick. Okay. One of the early ones, the Tony Scaduto book from 1973. This is good because it only goes up to that certain time, so the book is written just a little bit differently than a typical Bob bio would be. Okay. Closest thing to his autobiography, which is we got, well, another book is coming out in November, but Chronicle from 2003. Chronicles was the book. Read this a while back. This was good. One book on one song, Greil Marcus, Like a Rolling Stone, on the song, essential. If you want to read a little bit about the Blonde on Blonde period and that thin, wild Mercury sound, read this sucker by Daryl Sanders. This was a great book just to learn and about those sessions, the musicians that he had on those sessions, Dylan coming to Nashville and working with the local Nashville musicians, their take on working with him. This book is definitely essential, I would say. This one's probably not essential, more for the diehard completist. I mentioned this earlier. This is that Surviving in a Ruthless World, Bob Dylan's Voyage to Infidels, by Terry Gans. This, again, really, really kind of in-depth research on periods of Bob's career that kind of really don't get a lot of study. So it was worth it for that. That's why I picked this one up for sure. Okay. Navigating through. Almost done. Okay. This is one of those cheap kind of $5 ones. The Dead Straight Guide to Bob Dylan by Nigel Williamson. Kind of Vanity Fair type thing. Greil comes back again with Invisible Republic. And Greil writes a book on the Basement Tapes as well. Entry level. If you're looking for like an entry level bio on Bob, Howard Sounds, who's also written one on Paul McCartney as well. This was also good to read as well. Read this one pretty quickly. Nice quick overview. And I'm currently reading right now kind of the Bob Dylan kind of biographer of all biographers. And that's Clinton Halen. And this is The Double Life, The Restless and Hungry Feeling, 1941 to 1966. So this is a two-parter. Part 2 is not out yet. I actually attended, they did a Bob conference celebrating his 80th birthday in May, and Clinton spoke on that. I watched that over a Zoom call, and he talked about his book, but I'm still reading this one as well. This one's pretty, it's nice, but it's heavy, and it's also outdated. This is Bob Dylan, all the songs. This kind of goes through everything up till about, I want to say, Tempest, and covers all the Bob songs in a nice kind of easy way. Here, see, photos and just some basic song biographical info, just to kind of get you through all of his discography. A mighty tome, but essential. And down below, if I can reach it. Yep. Here we go. This one. I'm not going to show you all the Bob records, but this one here is pretty special to me. The original mono recordings. This goes up from self-titled all the way up to John Wesley Harding. I got this as a Christmas gift right after I saw him in 2019. So this is kind of really what got the ball rolling for me, getting this mono box set recording of all those albums. Beautifully reproduced, high quality, 180 gram vinyl. But this was really what got everything going for me as well. So I think I'm going to cut it there, and we're going to turn it over to my friend Bob Davison, who will be joining us to talk about his Bob Dylan experience. So we're going to cut to our interview with Bob now, and I'll come back and close it up when we finish.